Welcome. It's Joe Volpe, the publisher of Corriere Canadese, North America's only Italian language daily newspaper, on behalf of Go Live TV and Corcan Media Group with the comment of the day. As you can see on the screen, the topic is Italy and Italians are victims of drive-by smears and yellow journalism. It pains me to say it, but that's it. One should have expected better from the credible mainstream media. But alas, the temptation to succumb to gotcha partner of what passes for investigative journalism is just too much to pass up for lazy sensationalists. It barely covers up malice of intent. And there never seems to be a tragedy befalling the Italian peninsula or the Italian diaspora that is not conveniently and immediately attributed to mafia activities. In other words, Italians deserve everything that happens to them. Now, the latest example of this type of theme is the horrific collapse on August the 14th of the Morandi Bridge connecting East and West Genova, a thriving historic port city in Liguria, a northern province bordering the French Riviera. At last count, 43 people lost their lives. Dislocation of thousands of others for at least 2 years as repairs and reconstruction follow their normal course. The challenges of adjustments by business and return to normalcy by the general population might have been topics for some journalists and their editors to pursue, but not so fast. Canada's own CTV network, on the evening of the tragedy, rushed to provide two very, quote, authoritative, end of quote, reasons for the bridge's collapse. The first, supported by a graph purporting to illustrate the budgetary disbursements over the last 10 years by the Italian government, was related to declining investments on the part of the national government on infrastructure spending. Could be. The second was attributed to the infiltration by organized crime of the cement and construction business. This time, no charts, no graphs, no corroborating names. Very convenient. The Morandi Bridge, built over a 3-year period from 1965 to 1967, that's 50 years ago, was an engineering marvel for the period. In fact, the company built one spanning the Columbia River in British Columbia at around the same time near Castlegar, BC. The owner of the Morandi Bridge, now an international conglomerate, Benetton of the clothing fame, runs the biggest infrastructure management company worldwide, Autostrade. It's responsible for maintaining the roads, bridges, and tunnels. There are over 3,000 of the latter two in Italy, a country 1/4 the size of Ontario. But bad news travels fast, particularly in Italy, where skepticism and cynicism are two traits so deeply embedded in the Italian psyche that Catholicism, a forward-looking religion, has yet to succeed in eradicating this from the population's DNA. Every Italian journalist, political entity, and magistrate/prosecutor was immediately on the hunt for the culprits or for what was responsible. Examinations, analyses of the impact potentially of anything current or relevant, including seismic shifts, the impact of global warming on the topography, unforeseen weather fluctuations, and any lack of due diligence by the caretaker. No stone is or will be unturned by such journalism. Yet, by August 16th, barely 48 hours after the event, while authorities were also concerned with search, rescue, burials, some insightful investigators already had the answers. On August the 18th, Canada's National Post led with the headline, quote, "Bridge disaster, a stark reminder of how mafia corruption have left mafia and corruption have left Italy's infrastructure crumbling. End of quote. The author was a certain Nick Squires of The Telegraph, a British publication, which had published the article the day before. Count them, 6 paragraphs into the story, there's a disclaimer of sorts, and I quote, "There is no suggestion at this point that organized crime had any role in the construction of the bridge." End of quote. But the implication, as you can all understand, is already quite clear. One never knows. This is, after all, Italy and Italians. We would be condemned, we at Corriere Canadese, Go Live TV, and Corcan, for yellow journalism, were we to attribute this malicious drive-by smearing of an entire ethno-cultural group to the National Post's business ethics, as evidenced by its founder, a convicted felon who had previously renounced his Canadian citizenship to pursue foreign glories and honors. We're not going to stoop that low. The man is, by Canadian standards, a great thinker who has done his time and turned a new page. They won't give anybody else that same credit. We won't even suggest that the Post's current owners, an American vulture fund, is waiting to unload an unreadable asset because the Canadian government sees no value in advertising in its pages. So it relies on tabloid journalism from Britain to fill those pages. Regrettably, this type of journalism isn't new. I think it's genetic to the system. In 2016, the Canadian mainstream media had a field day with this theme of "the mafia did it," when an earthquake demolished 2 1,000-year-old medieval towns in central Italy. 1,000 years old. 289 people were buried beneath the rubble, but that wasn't important. Maybe the reporting serves as a reminder for all those who shred their heritage in a rush to be just like the other guy. Something that Pirandello, a 20th century playwright and philosopher, was bang on when he said, "You are what others think you to be." So for them, watch CTV and National Post and find out what you're like. If you're a mafioso. If you're a serious person, you might do something else. Joe Volpe, publisher of the Corriere Canadese, on behalf of Go Live TV and Corcan, thank you for watching. Stay tuned.